Welcome to China Unveiled, where we dive deep into the untold stories shaping the nation. Today we uncover a shocking reality in Chinese universities that's more absurd than you could imagine. Let's get started. In China, there exists a reality more absurd than the struggle to buy a home. University professors are compelled to take out loans simply to retain their positions. This is not a satirical fiction, but a grim truth unfolding across many regions of the country. University educators, who should be dedicated to writing books and nurturing students, are now forced to deplete their savings or incur bank loans to meet an outrageous requirement: securing external funding. Ideally, university budgets should be supported by government grants or research initiatives, with faculty focused on teaching, mentoring, and advancing scholarship. Yet, in today's Chinese universities, an increasing number of professors find themselves transformed into the institution's financial lifelines. An investigation by Phoenix News exposed this harsh reality. Faculty promotions, performance reviews, and even job retention are directly tied to securing external funding. This funding, intended to stem from collaborations between businesses and universities, might be feasible for science and engineering fields through technical services or experimental partnerships, but for humanities departments, it is virtually unattainable. Consequently, universities have devised a solution. Professors must pay out of their own pockets to fabricate contracts, funnel money into institutional accounts, and complete a so-called accounting process. At a private undergraduate college in Xi'an, the dean of the literature department delivered a chilling directive during a staff meeting. If you cannot secure external projects, find a company to sign a fake contract. If funds are short, pay in installments. Either get the money into the account or leave. Is this education? It is outright extortion. Under such rigid mandates, professors are compelled to reach into their own pockets. Some have even sold their homes to meet these absurd quotas. An assistant professor in a literature department was burdened with a 450,000 yuan funding target, despite earning a monthly salary of just a few thousand yuan, an impossible feat for a humanities scholar. To comply, they took out an 80,000 yuan loan, which took a year to repay. In Tianjin, another professor sold their home to raise 400,000 yuan for the university's accounts, just to preserve their job. What irony is this? Chinese professors are not borrowing for homes or cars, but for the privilege of working. On Xiaohongshu, discussions about external funding mandates abound, with detailed guides on navigating these challenges. In the shadows, an entire industry has emerged, offering fake contracts and invoices as a complete service. For a price, professors can meet the university's mandatory performance targets. An education system has spawned a fraudulent industry. Yet some refuse to tarnish their professional integrity. Tang Wensheng, a professor in Xi'an, declined to sign fake contracts and was promptly dismissed. 6 other faculty members who resisted were also terminated. In Shandong, lecturer Wang Sen, overwhelmed by the pressure, chose to resign. He said, "I pursued a doctorate for scholarship, not to fundraise for the university." He has since left academia to work in educational consulting, a profound loss. Those with true academic integrity are being forced out, while those willing to comply with deceit remain. This is reverse elimination. The root issue extends beyond the greed of certain university administrators. It lies in the national degree evaluation system. The State Council's degree committee includes external funding as a mandatory criterion for assessing whether universities can grant master's degrees. As a result, second-tier institutions, desperate to secure degree-granting authority, and top-tier universities, striving for double first-class status, pass this pressure down until it burdens ordinary faculty. This is an absurd chain of pressure from the top down. Higher authorities demand data and achievements, universities chase rankings and quotas, departments enforce tasks and completion rates, and ultimately, the burden falls on the wallets of individual professors. Liu Yijun, a postdoctoral researcher at Beihang University, captured the current logic of university evaluations: give me prestige or give me money. Traditionally, university professors were seen as ivory tower scholars with stable careers, time for research, and the privilege of teaching. Today, many find themselves facing not scholarship but relentless digital oversight and cold metrics. In classrooms, emotionless monitoring systems track attendance, with head-up rates serving as indicators of teaching quality. Outside the classroom, professors are inundated with administrative reports, each data point tied to performance evaluations. Promotions no longer hinge on research achievements but on the amount of external funding secured. Professional dignity is eroded by fake contracts and impersonal statistics. Xi'an, a lecturer in Jiangsu, remarked that terms like stability and freedom are relics of the past. Today's university professors are exhausted, juggling multiple roles. Online, reports of professors borrowing money to keep their jobs have sparked widespread outrage. One commenter noted, "Taking out a loan to work? That's more surreal than borrowing for a house or car." Others remarked that it's not just students paying protection fees anymore, professors are now doing the same. Many are furious, arguing that educators should be respected, not reduced to the university's cash machines. This crosses a moral boundary, a job that drains not only finances but also faith. This is not an isolated phenomenon. Data indicates that in 2017, Chinese universities had 400 billion yuan in research funding, a figure that approached 700 billion yuan by 2024. Yet, in this vast pool of funds, little reaches professors. Most is funneled into accounting maneuvers and rankings. Meanwhile, China's university faculty exceeds 2 million. If this absurd external funding logic persists, millions of educators could be drawn into this bizarre cycle of self-funding. What is depleted is not just their money but the very foundation of education. Education should be a nation's most revered endeavor, yet in China today, it has been hijacked by performance metrics. Professors, who should be wielding chalk at the lectern, have become accountants in administrative offices. Academic discussions in research labs have been replaced by loan applications at banks. Faculty identities have been reduced to financial tools, and the sanctity of scholarship has been profaned into a mechanism for fraud. What a tragedy this is. Elsewhere in the world, educators pursue knowledge, but in Chinese universities, they chase invoices. On paper, Chinese higher education appears to be thriving. As of 2024, China boasts over 3,100 universities, with more than 46 million students enrolled, the highest globally. Research funding exceeds 700 billion yuan, ranking among the world's highest. The double first-class university list continues to grow, with proclamations of world-class disciplines resounding loudly. But step into a professor's life, and a starkly different reality emerges. The core issue is not merely external funding but the absurdity of the system behind it. Chinese universities have been tasked with a politicized mission to create world-class institutions rapidly and excel in international rankings. Genuine research and educational quality are too slow and intangible to achieve this. Instead, the fastest route is to amass funds, projects, and metrics. Degree-granting authority, double first-class evaluations, and institutional rankings depend on external funding, international publications, and total research budgets. In this framework, scholarship is marginalized. What matters is whether the numbers and reports are impressive enough. Financial strain is suffocating, but the psychological toll is even greater. Many professors confide to the media that they live in constant anxiety. A poorly delivered lecture risks student complaints and pay deductions. Failing to meet funding targets hinders promotions and titles. Insufficient publications could cost them their positions. Teaching was once among society's most respected professions, but now educators are reduced to performance machines, trapped in an unending cycle of KPIs. Education is no longer a calling, it is a transaction. Professors are no longer scholars but workers. Worse still, this distorted educational logic ultimately burdens the next generation. When professors expend their energy on fraudulent funding schemes, how much remains for teaching? When universities exploit faculty to meet quotas, how much passion is left for mentoring students? When academia is rife with fraud, how much genuine knowledge can students acquire? Data reveals that in 2023, China's undergraduate graduates exceeded 12 million for the first time, yet the employment rate was below 80%. Meanwhile, businesses increasingly complain that university graduates lack the skills they need. Why? Because professors are forced to survive within an absurd system, undermining educational quality. A professor drained by this system cannot foster truly innovative students. Education shapes not only talent but a nation's future. When professors are coerced into borrowing to work, when scholarship is drowned in fraud, when young people receive hollow knowledge within rigid systems, this is not merely an educational crisis, it is a societal one. Talented and idealistic professors are increasingly leaving academia. Academic decline, fabricated papers, fraudulent projects, and falsified funding have become open secrets. Disillusioned students lose trust and society's faith in education erodes. Some quip that Chinese universities are no longer ivory towers but gilded factories, not halls of knowledge but data mills. The collapse of a nation's education system will yield catastrophic consequences for decades. Professors borrowing to work sounds utterly absurd, yet it is becoming commonplace nationwide. It is not an isolated issue but a reflection of the perverse logic pervading the entire education system. It can only be described as profoundly, tragically absurd. Thanks for watching and joining us on this journey to unveil China's many layers. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up, share it with others, and hit that subscribe button to stay updated. See you in the next video.